Drop a wallet on the street on purpose. Count how many come back. That experiment exists. In Tokyo, about 8 wallets out of 10 came back. In New York, 1 out of 10. With cell phones, the numbers were 88% and 6%. The Japanese are honest. People say that often. But what is honesty? And why would anyone stay honest in a place where no one is watching? That is what this video looks at. To look for an answer, we turn the clock back. From the prayers of Shinto shrines to the laughter of Edo storytellers, we follow the words that earlier generations of Japanese left behind, one by one. In the Japanese countryside, there are vegetable stands with nobody minding them. A shelf, some vegetables, a price tag. And one box for the money, that is all. You pick what you need, drop your coins in the box, and walk away. The farmer is somewhere else entirely. There are no exact statistics, but they are said to be everywhere in rural Japan. Japan has roughly 4 million vending machines. They stand deep in the mountains and along empty roads, as if it were nothing. Nobody guards them. They are rarely vandalized, people say. That is why they can stay outside. Every year, found cash is handed in to the Tokyo Metropolitan Police. In the most recent year, roughly 4.5 billion yen. Cash that strangers picked up off the street and carried in with their own hands. And about 70% of it went back to the people who lost it. 7 times out of 10. Not everything comes back. Still, those are the numbers. Tsuji Izumi, a sociologist in Tokyo, told a reporter, "It would be unthinkable for me to not give the money to the police." And he was sure, he added, that the vast majority of Japanese feel the same. That word, unthinkable. Not difficult. Not admirable. Unthinkable. Where does a feeling like that come from? This time, we are not looking at laws or classrooms. We are going after the deeper source of that unthinkable, in the hearts of the Japanese who came before. Imagine it. An evening road, you pick up a wallet. Cash inside. Nobody around. Nobody would ever know. You put it in your pocket. And in that moment, something in your chest clouds over. You came out ahead, and still it clouds over. This feeling is old. Earlier generations of Japanese had a name for it. What old Shinto prized above everything was Kiyoki Akaki Kokoro, a clear and bright heart. A heart with nothing hidden in it, clean and open. There, honesty was not a rule. It was a state of the heart, the state of being unstained. So theft, before it was ever a question of getting caught, was a question of kegara, a kind of inner stain. And this sense of the heart, it is thought, flowed into the Japanese sense of honesty that came later. A 13th century collection of tales, the Jikkinsho, records a vow. The god Hachiman swore to dwell in the head of the honest. Honesty is where a god lives. The saying is still alive in Japan today. And there is a more everyday phrase. Otento-sama ga mite iru. Otento-sama, the honorable sun, is watching. Even when no one is watching, the sun is. Not God, not the police. The sun. Many Japanese hear this as children. There is no scripture behind it, no fine doctrine. Just the sense that something overhead is always watching. That sense alone, packed into a short phrase, has survived in kitchens and on roadsides. Go back to that unmanned stand. The condition that makes the shelf possible was written down in advance, more than 2,000 years ago, in a Chinese classic. The Doctrine of the Mean, a Confucian text, says, "Sincerity is the way of heaven." Truthfulness, it declares, is not a rule that humans made. It is how heaven itself moves. And the text goes on, without sincerity, there is nothing. Without sincerity, things do not even hold together. The stand with nobody minding it is that one line, standing in physical space. Without sincerity, that shelf disappears in a day. The same text holds another line, close to the core of this video. The gentleman is watchful over himself when he is alone. The teaching is called Shinto, being careful in solitude. When no one is watching, when you are alone, with no one left to perform for, that is when you guard your conduct. Not how you behave in front of others, how you are when alone. That, in this view, is the real person. Old China left a story about this. Yang Zhen, an official of the later Han, was visited at night by a man carrying a bribe. It is late, the man says. No one will know. It is the oldest argument in the world. Yang Zhen refused and answered, Heaven knows. Earth knows, I know, you know. A place where no one is watching does not exist in this world. That was his answer. Shindoku, the four knowings. Precisely when you are alone, you are seen. This sense soaked deep into the samurai of Edo, and later into the common people. Those samurai handled the word for sincerity, makoto, with a weight of their own. In 1900, Nitoba Inazo explained it to the world in Bushido, a book he wrote in English. The character for sincerity, he wrote, is a combination of word and perfect. To make your word whole. Sincerity meant that word and deed were not split. There was an expression, Bushi no Ichigan, the single word of a samurai. A samurai's word, once given, Nitobe wrote, was sufficient guarantee of the truthfulness of an assertion. It stood in for a written contract, no signature, no seal. And he wrote one thing more. The best of samurai looked upon an oath as derogatory to their honor. They spoke the truth at all times, so swearing to it would only cast doubt on their own words. Underneath this runs an older sense. Kodadama, the spirit that lives in words. Words carry power, and what is spoken becomes real. So words cannot be handled lightly. A lie is not just a trick, it is an act that rots language itself. Samurai were a small fraction of the population. Even so, this sense of honor, as the code of the ruling class, is thought to have seeped through the whole of society. They were not honest because someone watched them. They were honest so as not to shame their own words. Break your word, and no punishment was needed. The shame arrived on its own. Not the eyes outside. The eye inside. Then what about the merchants? People of the marketplace, far from the honor of samurai and the classics of scholars. Ishida Baigon, an Edo period thinker, taught in a book called Tohi Mondo that a true merchant thinks of making the other side stand and standing himself with them. The customer prospers, and so do you. Honesty, in this view, is not a nicety. It is the foundation that lets commerce continue. Cheat and it ends. Deal straight and it continues. Where this honesty is practiced, he wrote, the whole world comes into harmony. His teaching came to be called Shingaku, and in the late 18th century his students carried it to ordinary people, through talks and simple verses. And the deepest layer is still ahead. Before Baigon, at the start of the Edo period, there lived a Zen monk named Suzuki Shosan. Zen training includes samu, everyday labor. Cleaning, cooking. Polishing a corridor nobody will ever inspect counts fully as practice. This Shosan, in a book called Banmin Tokuyo, spoke directly to merchants. Learn, single-mindedly, the way of honesty. To the honest person, he wrote, the blessings of the heavens run deep, the Buddha and the gods lend their protection, misfortune falls away, and fortune grows on its own. The blessings of the heavens. The protection of the Buddha and of the gods. In a single sentence, heaven, Buddha, and the gods stand side by side. The Shinto sun, the Buddha's eye, the Confucian heaven. Inside this one sentence, they are no longer told apart. Shosan also taught that farming and trade are themselves Buddhist practice. If so, then for a person who thinks this way, a storefront with nobody in it is not empty. So far, we have followed the words of thinkers. But this was never only for the learned. There are stories the common people of Edo laughed at, over and over, in the yosa, the storytelling halls. Ido no cha wan, the teacup in the well. A ragman brokers the sale of a Buddhist statue, and 50 gold pieces turn up inside it. The ronin who sold it refuses the money. It is not mine. The samurai who bought it pushes it back. I cannot take it. Two honest men, forcing a small fortune on each other. Sanpo Ichiryo-zan, the three-way loss. 3 gold pieces are found, and the finder and the loser both insist they cannot accept them. The judge, Ooka Echizen, adds 1 coin of his own and settles it so that all 3 lose a little. There is also Shibahama, a quieter, tender one. And there are more. Stories about giving found money back. The people of Edo heard them again and again, laughing, crying. The proverbs point the same way. Kindness is not for the other person's sake. It circles around and returns to you. A good deed done in secret is always repaid in the open. What you do, good or bad, comes back to you. There are more of these than anyone would bother to count. Lay them side by side and you notice something. The wording is all over the place. A line of scripture, a merchant's ledger, a joke in a storytelling hall. Different centuries, different classes, different gods. But they point at the same single spot. Even when no one is watching, you are seen. And what you do comes back to you. Suzuki Shosan's sentence said it shortest. Heaven, Buddha, and the gods are watching together. Dig anywhere, and the same water comes up. A single river can run dry. But here, many rivers flow from separate springs into one sea. That is why this feeling is deep-rooted. A single root can be pulled out. This cannot. Culture does not leave paperwork. It cannot be proven the way a law can. To declare that the wallets come back because of the doctrine of the mean would be saying too much. But stack these words on top of each other, and the picture settles. Underneath that feeling, the feeling that keeping the money is unthinkable, all of these words are sleeping. Go back to the first experiment. In Tokyo, about 8 wallets out of 10 come back. The Japanese are honest. People say that often. Having come down this far, we can say it a little differently, not born, raised. In shrine prayers. In a line of scripture. In the single word of a samurai. At a merchant's counter. In the laughter of a storytelling hall. Over 1,000 years, a little at a time. Repetition did the work. Not one great teacher, thousands of small phrases. There was no honest nation at the beginning. Tradition after tradition, each in its own words, kept repeating one sense. Even when no one is watching, you are seen. Grow up inside those words, and when you pick up a wallet, your hand moves toward giving it back. On an evening road, a wallet is lying where someone dropped it. No one is watching. But inside the words of this country, a place where no one is watching has always been a place where someone was. The same scene looks a little deeper than it did before.